Yes, guys, good evening. Welcome back to SFeatleyTV. And we're back for the Chequered Flag show. Once again, it's another stream, another news show of F1, where we've just had, and even though it's Friday, we've just had qualifying because it's a new format. We'll be discussing that. We've just had qualifying now because we've got sprint qualifying, which is a 30-minute sprint race on Saturday as part of a new trial format. But the main story from that is Lewis Hamilton is back on pole position for the start of this Grand Prix. Finally, he has got himself back onto the pole position mark. After was it about how many races now?
7 races.
7 races. Probably the longest period he's probably spent off the podium. So. Off the pole position slot. I've got Brother John with me. How are you, mate?
Greetings, mate. Greetings to people. Good. Mixed feelings. Just mesmerized by the performance of the Red Bull. Of course, I'm a Red Bull fan, but I'm sure we'll talk about it in the show. But mixed feelings, to be honest. With Checo, um, you know, like uh, having his time deleted and also not, being at full pace with that brilliant car, and also Max Verstappen not capitalizing on the mistake um Lewis Hamilton. After he had pebble patches in his
I think.
fast yeah.
I don't. Yeah. I mean, I think in the end, I think even if he went fast in the last set, though, Hamilton would have still been fast. Probably fast. I mean, if probably faster. I think if Lewis Hamilton did not make that mistake he made in the last lap, he would have easily. It would have been comfortable. So, but we've got T here. How are you, mate?
Hey man, I'm doing well. Yeah.
Right.
Hello.
So the main talking
Hey,
point
John.
we're talking about, and as though we want to talk about qualifying, this is just gonna put this in the chat. I'm just gonna put it now live. Yeah. So the main thing we're talking about in this episode, Thursday was the launch of F1 2022, the new car, the that's what will be basically the car what will look like the car for next year. A completely new concept, completely revolutionary idea. I did post on my community page the what F1 sort of highlighted, like the main points of the car, and the main changes, and like what is it going to entail. So we're going to just discuss about the new formula that's coming next season, because it's a game changer, a complete different game changer, a complete mix up of the grid. Every sort of team has also had their chance to put their sort of livery on the cards of what they would look like. So let's have a look. Right, I'm gonna check out quickly. Just gonna show this quickly. Right, Formula One reveal all new 2022 car aimed at improving racing and increasing competition. Formula One has for a first life-size model of the sport's new revolutionary cars, which will look like when the fresh rules era begin next year, with bigger tires and scaled back aerodynamics to facilitate closer racing, and with aimed of making sport more competitive. 2022's cars represent what Red Bull's legendary designer Adrian Newey this week described to Sky Sports as the biggest technical rule change in F1 in 40 years. Although teams are currently designing their own cars to meet the regulations, meaning they will not look exactly like the special liveried model revealed by F1 at Silverstone. The concept is certainly dramatically different from recent history. The cars feature bigger and simplified front wings, in addition to the return of ground effect floor, a cursed concept in 1970s, which before being banned to channel air more efficiently under the car. The 2022 concept also features front wheel deflectors for the first time, while the tires will be low profile to increase in size to 18 inches for further aero and heat control benefits. So, I just want to see if we can bring out the main points. Did they bring out the main points of it? Trying to see where they can find out where the new. Oh, get out of there! New points in the new car. But first, looking at it at first glance, John, what do you make of it?
Well, to be honest, well, like the car is very much interesting. The livery is new, and well, like to be honest, they didn't do any justice at all about the body of the car, because I'm sure you still recall that the regulations were published in 2019 for 2021, but we know that it was delayed due to COVID-19. So it's a sense of deja vu, but it's more like we've seen it before, but we hadn't seen the full version of it. But it's really going to be interesting, like especially like some of the things that you're reading, whereby like suspension plus the wheels, like you mentioned about the 18-inch rims and the low profile Pirelli tires. So like we already know that like there's going like the tires are going to be more like less sensitive, like less temperature sensitive, and allowing drivers to push more, uh, um, increasing, like to have a better race. And I'm sure even strategy is really going to be very
Yeah.
interesting. Yes.
Tiho, what do you make of the look of the new car? I mean, I'll show you the look of it just on first glance. What do you make of it?
I like the new design, not the livery, because the livery is just ugly. But the actual car itself, the rear wing, it's quite modern and I like it, to be fair. And the new things on the wings, I don't know what they are, but they look quite interesting as well.
I think it's probably the first sort of car that's got a, because like I think the cars they look they look obviously they look better now than they first did in 2018 when the Halo came into force. But like you sort of like if you look at it now with the Halo there, that looks more sleeker and more sort of sexier in a way
More
than it
natural.
did before. Yeah, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It blends in a lot more than it used to. So right. It's best. So the 10 points of it designed to specifically promote better racing. What's preventing the racing currently is that the effect, to quote, here we go. So to put numbers on the problem with it is that look, cars at 20 meters away from the cars might lose up to 35% of their downforce when running 3 car lengths behind the leading car, approximately 20 meters, measured from the lead car's nose to the following car's nose. Right. So from there to like from the front of the car to the front of the next car, they're losing about 35% of their downforce. When they are less than 1 car length, which is 10 meters, they're losing 50%, basically just 3% under 50% of all their downforce. Right, that's like losing half of your front wing.
55%.
Yeah, they said 47% on here.
Okay.
So the 2022 car, Formula One's in-house motorsport teams in collaboration with the FIA were putting heavy onus on aerodynamics phenomenon known as ground effect. More on which later. Which the figures to 4% at 20 meters, rising to just 18% at 10 meters. So the cars will then obviously be able to follow a lot closer because they have. The car will feature over-wheel winglets for the first time, and wheel covers are back. Two of the striking features on the 2022 car is the overall winglets and the return to a feature last seen in the F1 in 2009, wheel covers. The inclusion of the latter is simple. Sending airflow through the wheels might be an enormously potent way for teams to increase their downforce, but it also adds to the chaotic effect, aerodynamic weight coming off the cars. So basically, again, it's to just help the airflow to better help the car behind. So they've more said to the teams, stuff what you're doing for your own car, right? We want to focus about like for everyone. So if we don't care if you're at the front, we need to help the guy behind you to try and overtake him, basically. Right, 18-inch wheels and low-profile tires for the first time. Right, so you can see that they've been testing out in Imola. New Pirelli compounds and constructions of the 18-inch wheels have been designed with the goal of reducing the amount of tire overheat while they slide. A primary aspect that should help with closer racing. Yes. So because obviously if you build up too much tire temps and they go out the operating window, you just end up with loads of understeer. So they just don't work. So for the front and nose concept have been completely rethought. Totally new front wing shape. So the new front wing's job is to both generate consistent downforce when running closely behind another car, but ensuring that the front wheel wake is well controlled and directed down the car in the least disruptive way. So basically, anything that they've had before, they cannot back. Any sort of thing they've got on this car at the minute, they can't bring it into this one. It's not going to work. So ground effect became a prominence in F1 in 1970s, which the cars effectively designed in the shape of an upside-down airplane wings, creating a huge amount of downforce as they pushed into the ground. Right, these sort of cars basically. Full ground effect was subsequently outlawed in 1982, but the 2022 car is certainly not a return to that era. That there are no sky certs for a start, but the 2022 car does allow fully shaped underfloor tunnels rather than step floor used currently, which will allow teams to generate large amount of efficient downforce through ground effect. Basically, the rear wing features new tips to help channel the air again, to help the drivers in the dirty air zone, to help them run more closely. It will use the same power as the 1.6 turbo hybrid units that are the most efficient and most powerful hybrid units on the planet, and the most advanced also engines on the planet. So people saying that these cars are not efficient, these are. So you can also a new concept, sustainable fuel. They'll use 5.7% biocomponent fuels, ethanol or E10 as they're going to call it, E10 fuel, which is represented to its percentage in mixture. It's a fully sustainable fuel as they're trying to research into F1, creating a biofuel to keep it running for the future of Formula One. Safety at the forefront of its design. This is another main feature. The chassis now needs to absorb 48% and 15% more energy, respectively, in the front and rear impact tests, as well as greater forces in the static squeeze test required to homologate the chassis in the certified strength. Lessons learned into the major crashes from Roland Grosjean at the 2020 Bahrain Grand Prix, which with the cars now designed in such a way, in the event of a crash, the power unit will separate from the chassis in a safe manner without disposing the fuel tank. So it just stops that happening again. Learnings from the FIA's investigation also from the Antoine Hubert's fatal crash in 2019 at Spa, principally a longer nose section to help dissipate energy in a crash, together with stronger chassis sides to resist T-bone incidents. It's also true that the safety improvements also, as well as the heavier, more robust tyres, have seen a weight increase to the car's minimum weight has risen by 5% for 752 kilos to 790 kilos. So that's basically a rundown of main points of the car. So yeah, what do you make of it, guys?
I love it because yeah,
It's completely a revolutionary. This, if you don't know about Formula One and you think Formula One's boring, I'll tell you what.
you're brain dead.
Next season, you're going to be wanting to watch it. It's going to be a completely different mind game. Now you have a system called DRS system for people that don't know, and for people that don't know what it is, if you're following a car less than 1 second behind in a race, if you go past a certain activation point, a DRS activation point, then in the DRS zone, right, because you're within 1 second of a car in front, you will be able to activate what they call a DRS system, which is a switch and a button that can press, which opens the flap in the box of the rear wing, which then releases all the drag, and you go faster down the straight, right? So you gain more time. They're saying that because this is so revolutionary and cars be able to follow closer together, they might not even need to use it anymore. They might have to get rid of it because it'd just be too artificial. So this is uh 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 never mind this bollocks, how fast they go. We don't know. They're going to be slower, I think, to start with, but as development, I think developments as well, there'll be more stringent restrictions on how they can develop the car, so they can keep the car closer together, with also the budget caps as well. So no team can streak ahead with massive developments, and also it makes it more affordable and sustainable, because then there's more like fair play within teams. Everyone has the same budget. Everyone has the same amount of upgrades they can do. So that way they've got, let me see, that it becomes more affordable then for other teams to be able to join the show and join the party, basically. So we can then see an increase in the grid in future years. Yeah, John, what do you make of it?
Well, well, I'm going to play the devil's advocate here. But don't get me wrong. I guess
You're a
about
Red Bull
three.
fan. What do I expect?
Okay.
You
I
have to
get
play
you.
devil's advocate just in case the possible does happen.
Okay. So um, I just have three issues here. Well, I like besides the budget cap, and also the safety whereby the signs of the car, have been made much more stronger. Whereby if you have an accident, like at least it's going to like we're not going to have the repetition of corrosion accident. But I feel like the front row detectors will probably get the blip once one breaks off and goes flying towards the hollow. And also the thing is that with the rear wing, they probably look different to implement. For example, like you're taking off the DRS. Don't get me wrong, but I like the overall look of the car. But I'm sure that teams, just like in 2009, have already figured out like how far they can push the car. Because like FIA say that you have more freedom to design, the car that you want. But it feels like they can push the limits of the new regulation so that the car will be interesting. That's only my only issue, with these things, especially the rear wing, and also, like the front row deflectors. For example, like if it flicks, if one flicks, it can break off and goes flying to the hollow. Those are just my two fears, upon it. And also, like just like as we saw in 2009, whereby people can push, like the new regulations, over the limit. Considering, we all have like teams now have freedom to design what they want. Of course, not to give the replica of the thing. That's just my only issues. What do you think?
Yeah, I totally get you. I mean, I absolutely do get you clearly. With that one. Some and I look. I mean, obviously, I'm obviously a Hamilton fan. People might say I'm a Mercedes fan. Look, I'm a Hamilton fan through
No,
and through.
no, yeah.
If you put Hamilton in a Red Bull, I'll start with supporting a Red Bull, and I'll start wearing a Red Bull shirt. Trust me, right? You know that's true. You know that's true. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
like, that's that two type of driver, and you see that with most of that crowd in that most of the crowd that's there at the minute. If you
yeah.
saw Hamilton in a Mercedes shirt or in a Ferrari shirt or a Red Bull shirt, right, in a Red Bull car or Mercedes or on a Ferrari car, sorry, Hamilton would be in a Ferrari car or they'd all be wearing a Ferrari shirt or would all be wearing a Red Bull shirt, wouldn't they? So
Yes, yes.
so they have that two difference. Uh, Have you ever done an F1 experience at Silverstone driving a car? No, they did. They do Pirelli laps, but like only really celebrities can afford them because there's thousands of pounds to go around in one. But that's like in supercars really. But yeah, I think the new concept is just like probably what the sport's been asking for such a long time.
Yeah,
I think
level playing field.
level playing field for such a long time. I think before, um, like back in the 60s, you had that sort of maybe level playing field as such because
Yeah,
there wasn't the technology back in the day. I mean, like you
yeah,
saw, like I mean, Monza, where Jackie Stewart, I think, won it in 1969, I think it was,
yeah,
where
it was
he won it
1969.
by less than there was about four of them fighting into Parabolica,
Yeah,
four or five of them, and they were
in
about
Monza, right?
about 0.02 faster.
Yeah,
That 0.1 the gap that was
yeah,
there was a gap of like someone finished to win a race about 0.05 or something like that. But there's yeah, so I think that's what the sport's been crying out for such a long time because a lot of
yeah,
people for such a long time over the 90s, the 2000s, even all the way
yeah,
all the way through from maybe like McLaren's dominant era in the 80s, the late 80s, all the way up to
yeah,
now. People have probably been the only reason that they've been struggling is that they've been it's not been a level playing field.
yes,
And you can tell with the way like Red Bull spend their money, the way Mercedes have spent their money, the way Ferrari have so much money in the sport, that the reason that they're free at the front is because they've got the most to afford to be able to spend on upgrades and to spend on developing the car. Whereas some teams like um uh
mhm,
McLaren, Sporting Racing Point, Williams especially, Haas, they don't have the money, especially
yes,
McLaren if they're going in multiple directions with how they look as. I'm trying to think. What am I trying to think? Yeah, there's like they've been going into different formulas. They've given to different like building supercars. They've been different sort of areas, departments, and
yeah,
not focusing solely on F1, which is sort of what Mercedes do in Red Bull in a way. Yes, Red Bull have the soft drinks brand and
mhm,
Mercedes have their car brand and everything, but they don't like do anything else on top of F1. So
yes,
because they know it's you have to invest so much in the sport.
So
You
much.
mean like a power unit is like £14 million? It's just it's ridiculous how much money's spent these days in Formula
Yeah,
One, and it was becoming unsustainable. And
very much, especially with the pandemic, you know.
yeah, with the pandemic, and I think what drove it and what made it highlighted was when I don't know if you remember at the end of 2014.
Okay,
You
yes,
remember the end of
yes, yes, I
2014
remember.
when
Yes,
Manor and
yes.
Caterham both
Oh, yes.
like both folded, and only Caterham managed to come back in 20 at the end of 2014 in the last race to
Yeah.
because of crowdfunding. It's the only way they could do it was crowdfunding. And then the next season, Manor managed to find some investment to stay in the sport, but they couldn't do it for the Australian Grand Prix.
Yeah.
But
And it almost happened to
they
us last season.
yeah, but the reason they could never develop and be able to compete with everyone else is because they never had the funding, they never had the money to be able to spend their way out of it. Unlike Ferrari and stuff like that. Whereas you look at uh, whereas and you saw at the end of that the you had 22 cars at the start of the season, and then by the last 2 or 3 races, there was only 18 left on the grid.
Shocking.
We didn't know whether Manor was going to be coming back the next season as well.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, you can say that again. You can say that
So
again.
I mean, that's why like it was becoming so unsustainable to fund the sport. So um, and so that's probably what's driven them to create this new formula, new era to promote a more sustainable, more affordable way to go racing.
Indeed, indeed. And like also on that point, like I have to, like be in agreement, with you, considering, that Formula One, like FIA, has been looking for, new audience. That's why they even, like made a deal with Netflix to have Drive to Survive, for the new audience. And like what this just really makes it much more interesting is that like with next season having a level playing field, like same playing field, anyone can win it. And it reminds me of the English Premier League, whereby anyone can beat anyone, like compared to to La Liga or even Bundesliga, whereby it's just going to be like you already know, uh, like it's going to be obvious. But now with this in mind, the budget cap, pushing the cars to the limit, like less temperature sensitive, surely, even like the house boys, uh, like could be in it to win it. Anyone can win it, and definitely it's going to like excite many new fans, like to the sport. And it's something that I am really looking forward to seeing next season, to be honest. Can't wait, I'm really excited.
Mm-hmm. Uh, what do you say, Tiho? What do you think about the new after all these main points have been addressed that we've now explained to everyone who doesn't have a clue about what we're talking about? Uh, yeah, what do you make of it?
Yeah, like John said, I'm very excited. I think it could generally be one of the best seasons in F1 history.
Yes, yes,
Uh, John, on your point about anyone winning it, anyone but Haas really.
yeah,
They're just terrible.
yeah.
No, but
You don't know that though. You don't know that though.
yeah, true.
You don't know that
No,
though because everyone's starting with the same car.
yeah, but they don't really have to try for quality like the rest. No, but
Yeah, well, yeah.
yeah,
I think people are no. You say start with the same car. I mean, it's not a spec series. Everyone's going to have their chance to like. They're
upgrades and
already putting
everything.
in their invest. They're already putting in their investment to see where they can find the loopholes that they can use to go around it. So big up the Blues podcast as well. I didn't know you were interested in F1, mate. If you are, just send. I'll send the link your way, mate, and I'll get you on. So
More audiences, yes.
yeah, more. Yeah. So by all means.
Yeah, and
Of course, everyone's all investing in their own area. So we go
yeah.
on.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I just wanted to ask, like with the aerodynamic changes, like to next year's car. Uh, it's like I'm sure like it's going to be very interesting to see how the car performs, on a wet track. What do you think with the aerodynamic changes?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
Hmm.
Um. Yeah. Of course, the aerodynamic changes is going to be huge.
Especially on
Do
a
you
wet
think they
track.
need DRS?
Well, okay, okay. To be honest, like I really do not. I don't think, because like for me, I thought that like they're going to just like ban it. Like considering that like the cars can be pushed over the limit, and like you can overtake, just like when you were talking, like of the downforce. Like was it is it this year whereby like the downfall is about 55%, and next year it's going to be 86%.
18%.
Yeah.
It's 47% within 10 meters.
Oil.
It's 18% within 10 meters of the 2022 car, which is huge. It's huge. That's like having half your front wing put back on, isn't it? This is like half your overall downforce being put back on the car,
Yeah.
which makes a massive difference. Like, because you can see when people like you saw like in Spain when Hamilton, you could see was clearly faster than Verstappen for such a long time, but it took until he had to pit and he had over a second advantage of him entire life that he could actually get close enough to overtake him, right? Because if that was 2022, he would have just overtaken him in outright pace, wouldn't
Yes.
he? He wouldn't have needed to make another pit stop. So that's the difference. It saves like Hamilton maybe having to do what he did in Budapest and Spain, which is pit and then having to drive 20 seconds, like 2 seconds faster than the lead car to be able to jump in with a better tyre life at the end. So it, it it's you've got to credit everyone that's taken part for Pirelli, that what they've done.
True.
Rush Spawn, Pat
Mm.
Simmons, who's now part of it as well. Stefano Domenicali. I think John Todd as well, because obviously John Todd was like
Definitely.
the one who
Yeah.
who was at the head of it at the start. So
Yeah.
they've had they've had the equivalent of so much data that teams and simulations they've run. They said the equivalent of 17 million filing cabinets, full
Wow.
filing cabinets of data to come up with this concept.
Wow, that is brilliant.
And about 9 different design drawings of the car.
And like 7,000 simulations.
7,000 simulations driven out to about 17 million pieces of data.
Jesus.
Of separate file cabinets of data is huge.
Wow.
It's mind-boggling how much data and research has gone into
Just imagine
come
how
up with
many years
this.
it took. Just imagine how many years.
Well,
it
that took in the space of when they first announced the new rules.
2019.
That's taken them 3 years now.
Wow.
Well, 2 years of constant research.
Wow. Wow.
And I think, to be fair, though, as much as most teams have been fighting, and you see Mercedes have been dominating, I think this is where I don't fear Mercedes dominating the last 2 or 3 years,
Why?
knowing that these rules are coming into force. And I'll tell you for why. because they've been so much in front. If you saw in 2019, 2020, and 21, they already had a significant advantage at the start of the
Yeah,
season.
definitely, especially with that
So
last
by
season.
the point they got caught up by maybe even Max Verstappen or Ferrari or anything like that, or the contenders,
Just say,
in
Max.
2019 they'd won 8 straight races, the first 8 races.
Oh, that
Right?
was 2019, 2019, not 2018.
Yeah, they won. Yeah,
28.
they won 8 straight races, and I think only one of them was not in the top 2. Was only one of them was first and second.
Yeah.
No, 2 of them were not first and second. So about 8 of those wins were 6-1-2s. So they already had a massive advantage. Like by the time they got to half distance, that they can save like resources, save money, while everyone else strived to try and catch them up. They didn't have to spend so much in doing it. So if you know what I mean,
Not at all. Not at all.
same as 2020, they already had 7/10 on Red Bull because that's the only other competition. Thanks to Ferrari, they
Really?
already had 7/10.
Okay. That's a lot. That's huge.
So by the time that Red Bull caught them up, which was at the end of the season, they already had the championship won and dusted. So they've had time also to prepare for these new rules. They knew the new rules were coming in 2019, so they've had a chance to prepare for them.
Yep.
So I don't fear that the fact that because they've been running. The only thing I fear from is because of this season. But then again, they've been
Even
trying to save more on this season than Red Bull have. Because you've just said Red Bull have come up with more upgrades. Mercedes only come
more.
up with one bunch of upgrades,
Yeah,
haven't
that's
they?
shocking. Yeah.
But this is like
Shocking.
we already know that these were upgrades that Mercedes have bought on their last throw of the dice. That's what they've said.
Yeah, like it really shocks me that um, Red Bull. I think maybe we did not learn our past mistakes. 2013, whereby we won it and we lagged behind. Like the new regulations of 2014, and I feel like we are so desperate, very desperate. Like to win. Like to win it this season. But now the thing is that like we're investing a lot in a car which is not going to be like this car is going to be totally different to next season, and I feel like like we're being blinded so much, like we want to send a statement, and now with the cost budget, like with the cost cap, I really feel
Yeah,
worried, that we're going to be caught up because, like it came as a surprise hearing, like Crofty saying that, we've got a new flow and other
yeah,
development parts, and I'm like, what are they saying? Really? I mean, honestly,
yeah,
because I know yes, we've got the money. Without doubt, Red Bull has got the money, and I'm sure we've showed it, whereby tripling the salaries of some of the Mercedes employees. But now the thing is that having money does not matter because there's a budget, and I'm not feeling confident to be honest. Really, I am not at all. And it's more like it's going to be 2013 once again. It just worries me to be
Do you
honest.
know what I also think as well? With these rules as well is that, and I'm going to bring the new format in because I wanted to mention the new rules in these format. Right.
Obviously.
So this is the other thing we want to talk about is this format. I just spoke the moment, and I actually think this sprint qualifying the trial is not going to work. I don't see the point.
Are you sure?
Actually, I've been thinking about it, and I don't see the point. I don't
You know
see
what?
it. Why is the point? And
Yeah.
do you know why I say this?
Yep.
Why I say this is because um we all know the cars are already struggling to drive. We already just said they lost 47%
Exactly.
downforce
Exactly.
following another car. If you all put them on the same amount of tyre life, right? And if Hamilton gets into turn 1 first, that's it. It's done.
Okay.
You know what I
Okay.
mean?
Well. Yeah. Definitely. Definitely.
I don't see the unless he has a major issue. I don't see the point in it. I just don't see the point in trialing a new format with a bunch of cars that we know struggle to race with each other. Surely you want to
Well,
do it. If you want to do sprint qualifying, which is a 30-minute race, which is what we've been struggling to do, race each other with these
yeah,
cars, surely
yeah,
you'd want to do it with a car like you want to try it with a car that can race with each other and can overtake every other lap, which is the new car.
yeah. Okay,
So
tell you
why
what.
can't they just wait until next year and try it? Because I know
Yes,
what's going to happen. It ain't going to work, and they're going to just throw it in the bin and forget about it.
but you know what? It
And it
was a
could work.
very wait. It was a good idea, to be honest. It was a very good idea.
Yeah,
But
I
the
get the
problem,
idea. It's just that I think they're doing it in the wrong with the wrong car.
well, yes and no. Why I say no, it's because I understand that if like FIA are very fixated in terms of trying to get new audiences, and we all know that we all love our old and traditional, like quality,
Methods.
Q1, Q2, Q3, making things interesting. So perhaps,
Well,
they're
I
so
don't think they don't
blind.
mind the I don't. Sorry, I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
think they
it's
mind the
okay.
qualifying setup. The sets of qualifying's changed throughout yes, throughout its time
Yeah,
in
of
Formula
course,
One.
of course,
So
of course.
it's more about like putting another
Yeah,
race in.
trying to spice things and also, like to invite, other viewers. But the thing is that they're doing it at the wrong time, whereby imagine the risk. Imagine if you have an accident in, in the sprint race, trying to push the car to the limits, everyone, okay, perhaps maybe the 3 points or even the 1 point or even the 2 points can make a difference. But now here's the catch. If you have damage, just like the damage that happened at Imola, the money that Mercedes pulled out, that huge amount of money, whereby that was between Bottas and what's his name, George. So the thing is that there's high risk, and that is why I just fear that they're doing it at the wrong time. The idea was good, but what I feel they said, like they said, like we're just going to try these three, during the season. If it works, then good. We'll introduce it, like it's going to become a norm next season. But what I feel is that as much as it is a good thing, it's the wrong timing because everyone is
Mm.
fixated. Like no one wants damage. Imagine damaging your car, and already you're pushing the car to the limit. Imagine like the
Yeah,
accident that happened like
yeah,
in
I get that.
Baku for Max. So I think it's the wrong timing, and I feel like is like since it's being done at a wrong time, it's never going to flourish even, like in future seasons. That's my only worry. It was a very good concept, to be honest, but
Well,
it's the wrong time.
to be fair, you say it's the wrong time, but they were given extra finances to fund it.
Oh yes, half a million, like was it half
They
a
have
million? Half a
Yeah,
million.
they have it. Yeah, they have the teams have asked. They have asked the teams how much it's going to cost to fund these trials, and they said 500,000 for each team. So they have
But
done it. They have funded them that. So if there are any accidents, they are affordable. So if they do have any extra accidents, that's not because
that's the
of sprint
thing.
racing. It's not because of the sprint racing. That's down to their own problems. That's that the team can't. Unfortunately, the FIA can't like they can't have a go at you for that, can they? Like
No,
it's
of
like, well,
course
that's
not.
your own problem. Sorry, like.
But the concept is good, Stephen. Don't
But
you
the
think?
concept is good. I just feel that they're doing it with the wrong car. It's the wrong
Huh.
car. Do it with a sprint car. Do it with the car that next year you're gonna have. It's all right in a
Yeah,
spec series because it's a spec series. This is the
yeah,
point. This is why I never liked it in the first place because the spec series it's all the same car, so you're worrying about the driver,
yeah,
right?
yeah, yeah.
So you find out who's the best driver. So that's great. If you're doing it in a series where everyone has their own down good points and bad points in a car because each car is different,
Yeah, that's
then
the thing.
and everyone has their own pace advantage, then it's not gonna work. It's just I just don't see it working. So, but
But
Tiho,
no,
what do you
okay,
hang
sorry.
on? What
I'll go on
Tiho?
here.
What do you think? Did you think this will work? tomorrow?
It might, you can never really predict anything, but like you said, it's with an with a car that doesn't overtake greatly, like we've seen this season. But it could happen, but nah, I don't think so because Silverstone is not really that great for overtaking.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, because like you've got Maggots and Beckett's that go onto the hangar straight, and if you're
Yeah.
losing half your downforce by it, going through Maggots and Beckett's with half a downforce is not exactly what you want. To
Yeah.
be
Not at all.
honest, like
Not at all.
you end up start like going wide into the grass. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even like the slow section, like you struggle with the slow section at the traction zones. Uh, so it's just it is a struggle for me to see how it's gonna work. It might work at Monza. I get Monza maybe,
Yes,
but even at
definitely
Monza
Monza.
at times it can be a struggle because if you go through sector 2 and you're struggling with understeer because of the lack of downforce, you struggle to catch them up for the main straight unless you have a serious power advantage. So
Yeah.
it's like I said, and Interlagos, I ain't got a clue why they're doing Interlagos.
Oh.
Interlagos is impossible to overtake.
Yeah.
It's
Very.
hard to overtake around there. I don't know
But
why they're doing it. That's if we go there, by the way, guys,
no,
because
like was it confirmed?
I don't think the situation is going to improve there. To be honest, I
Yeah.
think
Yeah.
they're
It's
going to
not
get
going to.
cancelled in that one.
I think like they're going to do two races at Monza like they did at like in Austria. I think perhaps
Yeah, I
like
think that's to cover the Australian Grand Prix, isn't it?
yep, Melbourne.
Melbourne. So yeah, it'll be interesting. It will be interesting to see, but I don't see it happening. I
To be
just don't
honest,
see it.
yeah, but like this is a trial, and if it's a trial, like it's a make or break situation, whereby they say like we're going to see if it's going to be good, even in terms of the social media activities. Like we're also going to see the viewerships. Like they're going to measure a lot of things, even the perceptions of people.
Yep.
It's a good idea, but now I feel that if it's a trial, if it does not work, they're just going to completely phase it out, especially with the good car for next season, which is going to be very interesting. That is just my fear that they're just going to completely phase it out. And it was a good idea, to be honest, yeah. But anyway, like going back on what you talked about DRS, like with the rear, like with the rear wings. I don't know if you saw the rear wings, how they look, how they act. I'm just trying
They
to,
look serious. They look seriously sexy, don't they? Yes,
yeah.
was it that I'm sorry, the back end of that car looks sweet.
Really, really sweet, yeah, really sweet. Cause like imagine, like less temperature sensitivity. Just imagine, and also having like imagine those low profile really tires. And also now allowing drivers to push hard. I'm sure strategy is going to be very interesting next season. Strategy would definitely going to be interesting. That's what I think, and I just can't wait. And having the thought that a hard driver can like win it, or even like the Iceman if he's still there can also win it. That's how interesting it is. I'm really buzzing. Really, really, I am. And I have to credit FIA. Of course, like last last race, like the last race, we're all accusing, FIA to be anti racing. Like for example, like they don't want, like they're not
Yeah,
promoting
yeah.
hard racing. But now with
Your
this,
Perez is out of order.
I know
Out of order,
definitely.
boy.
I definitely was because even like Lando Norris, you think to yourself, I mean, honestly, why? I mean, honestly, why? But anyway, like
Well,
I just
to be honest, I spoke. Here's the thing: is that there's difference of opinion because I didn't think it was a penalty,
It
but
was not a
then
penalty without doubt.
I
I'm a
don't
Red
think
Bull
Norris. I
supporter.
don't think no. Yeah, I don't think that was for Norris, but I mean, difference of opinion. I mean, that DNF1 Adam says they can see why they gave it as a penalty. So because of how much they lost, how much time he lost going off the circuit. So
But
he
but
also
Steven,
said that he was side by side when they went into the corner. And if you're side by side when you go into the corner, as much as we all promote hard, fair racing, you have the right to have a space. You have
but
the
what do
right
you
to have some
expect,
space.
Steven? But what do you expect if you go, like outer, like trying to commit from the outer, like outer
Yeah,
lane?
yeah,
What
I
do you
know, but
expect?
what that's what Perez. But that's no. If Perez is, I get his point. If he's beside, if he's alongside Norris, which he was, he should deserve to have some space.
Yeah.
He does
And
deserve to have a car with some space, but I think it's again, it's difference of opinion. I mean, like, it's like with the Claire one. I think I think the first one, I think was a
was
penalty.
almost similar.
Like, because I think Leclerc got really alongside him, and I think the second, I think both of them, I think definitely were penalties because he was alongside him. He could see him.
And
So
no, like the last one, to be honest, definitely, I reckon it was a bit, well deserved penalty. But the first one, I thought that it was because like we gave Lando the penalty. So yeah, we're also going not to be biased, but definitely that was like the last penalty that Perez was given. Like that was bad driving, to be honest, very bad driving. But you know what? It's going to be interesting tomorrow. Checo is fifth and sixth is not like Lando Norris. It's going to be interesting to see what they have on the S leads. It's really going to be interesting.
yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think it's just be a matter of who gets there to turn one or turn three actually, because turn one's
10
fucked.
3. 10-1 is nothing. 10-3 definitely. 10-3. And
Verstappen takes out freaking Hamilton.
At what other
oh,
circuits would that be a sprint race?
sorry.
Yeah, it's a straight race.
Yeah,
That's
but
the flag.
at what other circuits will there be a sprint race?
Oh, what others? There will be one at the Italian
Monza.
Grand Prix at Monza. And
Oh,
if, and this is a big
it's not.
if it's not struck off, there will be one at Brazil.
That's gonna be
Yeah.
horrible.
That's gonna be struck off. I can see that being struck off. It won't be what it won't be done.
Definitely.
It'll be cancelled
Definitely.
because the situation's not any better. It's not getting any better there, to be honest.
Yeah.
I've got Marley, who's a good friend of the channel. He's yeah, he's not. He's saying it's not great there, but yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, we're gonna have to leave it there. So yeah, we're gonna have to leave it there.
Sorry, I
May
just want to ask the question. Tico, which team do you support?
He's a Max
I don't.
Verstappen fan.
Yeah, I
Oh
don't
man.
really.
Oh really?
Yeah, I don't really support a team, but yeah, I'm Dutch, so I
Yeah,
support
so
Max Verstappen. Yeah,
he's like me, he's for the
Max.
driver. So.
Oh, okay, so if Max goes to Mercedes, you also follow
yeah,
him.
yeah.
Like, oh, okay, cool. Okay, so
Steven,
it seems, huh?
Just one thing. You said a bit earlier that if Lewis switches to Red Bull, you'd support Red Bull. I imagine the banner switching already to Red Bull, like the logo on the banner.
Yeah, really.
The logo,
Especially,
what logo on the banner?
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like
If it
above.
happens, yeah, if it happens.
Yeah,
No, if it happens, it happens, man. I'll just leave the logos out, man.
but
yeah.
like I'm
But do you know what? To
really,
be honest,
yeah.
I'm sorry. To be honest, as much as if I support a driver, that'll go to Red Bull from then on. Like, and if like maybe if to be honest though, I might even support the Mercedes next time anyway. Because if Hamilton retires, I think Russell will be at Mercedes
Lando
next
or
season.
Russell. Don't
Russell
say
will be
Messi.
at Mercedes next. Russell will be at Mercedes next season.
Yeah, but Steven, did you hear what Helmut Marko said? He said that like we're all eyes on what on Russell just to see. So
Now,
if Mercedes makes a mistake of not giving George Russell that seat,
no,
if they
I'm
make
telling
it,
you, look,
because
I'm telling
George,
you,
sorry,
I'm
because
telling you
Helmut
now.
said, well, keeping
Oh
all
no,
eyes.
Mercedes won't let it happen. Mercedes
Why?
will not let it happen. Well, he's got to leave out their academy first. You really
Can't be
think
bad.
Mercedes is going to let that happen? If he goes to Mercedes, Mr. Toto, and goes, "Oi, Mr. Wolf, by the way, right?
Doesn't he have?
If he goes to Mr. Wolf and not like saying like some people would say, Mr. Red Bull or Mr. Mercedes, right? He goes to Mr. Wolf and goes, "Oi, by the way, Toto, right? I've just had them lot Red Bull. They're making me an offer, right? They're interested in me, right? So what are you gonna do, right? Do you really want me to go to Red Bull and challenge you lot? Because you know I've got the pace. I outdid Bottas at Sakir by a mile. You really think
Yeah.
Toto's going to let that happen? No.
I'm saying just
Mercedes
make
on
that
that.
mistake. Make
Yeah,
that mistake. Make
the
that
Mercedes
mistake.
does not make that mistake. They are not that stupid.
So
They would
can we
not be
say?
that
So
stupid.
can we say
You
for
really
next?
think, and you really think also, I don't even think Russell would go to Red Bull. Why would he go to Red
Why?
Bull where it's
Why?
all no?
Come
Because
on.
it's just we all
Let
know
me
it's Max
let me
Verstappen's
give
team.
let me give
It's
you
Max
one.
Verstappen's team. It's like
Let
that's
me.
why no, John. That's why Vettel left Ferrari. It's Leclerc's team. It's Verstappen's team. It's same as Mercedes is Hamilton's team, right?
Let
And
me give you. Let me give you a simple reason why he would leave. The thing is that do you really think it's easy for him, like to be at
no, it's
Williams,
not. But
seeing Leclerc, seeing even Lando Norris, drivers of his generation, like buzzing it up, at big teams. It's not going to be easy.
but John,
And he's
look, he's
got
doing it.
1 year.
No, but do
Is
you know
it
what
1 year
John
on
is
his
doing?
contract?
Do you know? Yeah, but do you know what he's doing?
Yeah.
Do you know what it's doing?
What
Right?
is it?
It's pushing him to a new level. Look what he's doing now. He's managed to out. He didn't just out qualify because it's low drag at Austria. He's out dragged, but he's outdone it just on pure pacing frigging at the British Grand Prix. The first is into the top 10 of the British Grand Prix. He's literally knocking on the points door. So
That
he's
I
pushing the
understand.
Williams to a new level.
With the Williams, mate.
Yes, he is. He's pushing it to a new level. He's pushing to the top 10 in a Williams.
Yeah.
What more do you want?
So I can imagine. So I'm just saying, if you make that simple mistake, definitely we will. Definitely we will pounce. And Helmut just said it.
I'm sure he will, but I
can we
don't.
safely say?
I get
Huh?
that, but I don't think that he would sell him to Helmut Marko. Not in your life. Not in your life. And by the way, I'm looking at this beautiful lap once again. Oh,
But
it's
he's
a
got
beautiful lap.
1 year. But he's got 1 year on his contract. I think like most
I get
drivers
he's got
in
1 year in
Formula
his
One.
contract. It's not going to happen. I'm telling you, it's not going to happen. Right? And the way look at Bottas, the way he played in Bottas in qualifying. Where did Bottas qualify in the end?
P3.
Third.
P3. Right. Okay. So he actually did do
Did
something
you
this
see
time.
the post? Did you see the post interview, like whereby like he was being grilled, like Waters? Did you watch the interview?
I haven't had a chance to see the interview. No.
Ah, okay. Because I had that, like the commentator. So like I'm saying the commentator, like the interviewer, like was actually, more like trying to, stay him up, him and what's his name, George Russell. And
Yeah,
I thought
I'm
that
sure.
it was
Trust
a
me.
net.
Look. Trust me. I'm sure. Like, I can look. Do you know why they haven't? If Mercedes was so sure that they weren't going to have, right? If they weren't sure about Mercedes, if they weren't, if Mercedes were so sure about keeping Bottas and they were so sure that Max Verstappen or Russell, sorry, is not ready, they would have announced it already. So by the fact that what Russell's doing already, do you know what that tells me? That tells me that because they're not making any decisions yet, it's basically saying that Mercedes are fucking interested. They're seriously considering it. This is why Bottas has not been announced as their number 2 driver. There's not like it was. Otherwise, it would have been just as easy as what Hamilton did, which is just sign another 2-year deal. It would have been just as easy as that to do it at the same time as Hamilton, because if he hadn't done it at the same time as Hamilton, it means that Russell is stirring the pot and he's fucking interested. He's made them interested. He is. He is.
No, definitely he has. But the reason why Mercedes hasn't announced is because they think that if they can announce such a big decision like this in the middle of a battle like this, whereby they can even just win it, they don't want, like for.
But why would they want a drama about why? No.
Come on.
The last thing they need in a championship battle is worrying where where the Hamilton's teammate is going to go when they're trying to fight for the. If he's why surely you'd want to announce your second driver for next season, so it's all clear and out of the way, so you can fully commit on the season rather than if you wanted to keep John, if you wanted to keep Bottas, right, you would announce it now, right? You wouldn't leave it open like this, right, for the media to go, oh, is he going? Is he going? Is he going? Is he going? Right, in the middle of a championship fight with your toughest championship fight ever.
That's what I'm saying. That is what I'm saying.
So that obviously means that Russell's doing so much in the car, right? That with Russell in the Williams to say to him, look, I'm sorry, you've got to include me in the conversation, and that's what they're doing. And I'm sure behind the scenes they are constantly talking to Russell, saying, we're considering it.
Can you please assist us here? The thing is that for me, I'm already saying that Mercedes has already declared that Russell is going to be their driver. But what is stopping them from announcing that is because they don't want to stir, the emotions of voters, because already they're in the middle of a big fight, for the championship with Red Bull. So they don't want to be worrying.
Yeah, but I don't know if you. Yeah, but I don't think you know. I don't know if you can't be sure though. You can't be sure that they've already said to that.
No, do you know what? What's stopping them from saying Bottas is our driver for next season? What is stopping them from right now? What is stopping them?
I get that, but you can't be sure that it could still be debating it because, you got to admit still though that.
Steven, do you remember? Steven, do you remember when Bottas, I'm forgetting where was it, when Bottas gave, Max Verstappen the tour? Do you remember when he gave Max Verstappen a tour and, Max Verstappen got, a pole position whereby the engineers, or should I say his race engineer, was saying that, please, don't give him the tour, don't give him the tour, but he still gave him the tour. Do you remember? Bottas once did that. So I'm saying, imagine if you do that, if you give such a big decision. Okay, I'm not saying that you screw Mercedes over, but I'm saying, would you want to risk it right now?
I don't know, mate. I don't know. But look,
I'm saying.
No, I'm just saying they haven't. I don't think they've announced it yet. I don't think they've confirmed it yet. I don't think they've signed the paper yet. I just feel that they are still negotiating with both drivers.
But don't make that mistake, please. Don't make that mistake. Because if you make that mistake,
make that mistake. I don't think they will.
Yeah,
because if not, they probably might go to Aston Martin. Because don't forget, part of the driver academy as well. Part of the teams they could easily put. They could easily say, "Oi, look, Aston Martin, get Vettel out. You got to put him in here."
Yeah,
they could easily move him into a better car. You see what I mean? They could say, "Oh, if we don't think you're quite ready yet, but if you can do it in an Aston Martin and get yourself qualifying, and don't forget next season, who's to say Williams aren't going to be up there?
Yeah.
Who's to say Williams aren't going to be in the top 10? Who's
Of
to say
course,
Mercedes are going to be dominating the field?
of course. But that's a big if. That's a big if. But you might as well just go to like a Mercedes because Mercedes have a reputation. They have a reputation. Their reputation precedes them. You see. So of course it could be Williams. It could be anyone because it's a level playing field. But it's going to be exciting for me. I really hope Checo gets the contract, but if he does not get it, perhaps I want George. Like it should be because George has been given that seat. But of course, that's wishful thinking because Mercedes will never allow that. Will never allow that to happen.
Yeah. Anyway, we're gonna have to wait and see. But
Can I?
anyway,
Can I?
we're gonna we're gonna have to wrap it up there, guys. Anyway, so go on, Tio, quickly.
I
Go
just
on.
wanted to. I just wanted to ask both of you: will we see a retirement at the end of the season, like a driver
No,
retirement?
no, I
Don't
don't
think
think
so.
so. I don't think
As
so.
Alonso,
Kimi and
maybe
Alonso. No. Sorry?
Yeah.
Kimi or Alonso, but I don't see
No,
why Alonso would come back just for one season. Kimi maybe, but
no, not Kimi.
why would?
Especially with
What was the
next
point?
season. Come
But
on, next
what's
season it's going to be very interesting. Wouldn't you
yeah,
want
but
to, like to have that on your on your resume to say at least like the okay because this is going to be a big like a breaking ground effect
we don't know.
for.
But we don't. Yeah, but I don't see the point in staying for one season into a new era when they
Remember,
could
it's
just
just a
introduce a new
hobby.
driver into
Remember
new.
for
I,
him.
I, I, yeah, I don't see it. I see it. I don't know. I think I don't see the
Okay,
point in him
Kimi.
staying for one season. I don't see the point of it. But we have to wait and see. Make sure to
Like,
um,
share, and subscribe.
yep, to
Membership.
like, share, and subscribe. Join the membership now. Please do that. Like, as little as $1.99. It's less than a frigging McDonald's, man. Or like the second level is about as the price of a McDonald's, and the third one's the price of a family's like going to McDonald's. Like
Wow.
it's so cheap, so like you get so many perks, and what you're doing is supporting Children's Liver Disease Foundations. What you're
Yeah.
doing, man, right? You're
Yeah.
doing great things, and right, obviously, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Right, super chats also help as well, but the main way you can donate is down below in the description below with the Just Giving page. And like I said, at the end of this weekend, I finally managed to get the payment sorted with this payment account thing. So I will be able to show you the amount of money we've made and the money going into the Just Giving page pot. Right. So just so you all know where the money's going. So yeah, make sure to like, share, subscribe. Now tomorrow, change of plan preview is at 12 p.m. John, we've got qualifying at 4. You free for
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Good.
Definitely.
You free for the preview?
Yeah.
12 p.m.
Definitely. Yeah.
Now, 1 o'clock, we've got a new show which we might be covering as much as we can. I don't know if we can cover it during the season, during the football season, but we're definitely going to try and cover it as much as we can. We've missed the first 2 rounds, so I do apologise, but I'm going to have to research what's going on in it. The Formula W series has just kicked off
Oh.
in Austria. It's had its first race in Styria, the Styrian one, then in Austria, which is the same one, and now we're doing Silverstone tomorrow. The race, they've just had qualifying this weekend. Sorry. So, yeah, they've just had qualifying and practice this today. I'm just going to give you now, for people that don't know what the FW series is. Formula W is the women's series for Formula One, or for like the lower formulas, like your Formula 2. and it's to help young women drivers to try and get into Formula One or the top levels of motorsport or single seater racing. So, yeah, the third race, obviously, this weekend at Silverstone, it will be a 45-minute race, and it will start at 1 our time. So yeah, so we'll be live at 1 p.m. for that, and we'll be having a new panelist on actually as well. So, I don't know if you really wanted to join. I mean, because
like I can try, but I'm
because
still to
me
research.
and because I've been speaking to because Maisie's quite interested in getting interested into the sport, into F1.
Cool.
As much as you can. That's why she was on there during qualifying.
Okay,
And I spoke to her about whether she wants to do this. So, bear with her. She's got to learn. She's got to learn a lot about F1.
Definitely.
I'm sure we can help her out with that. But
Definitely.
yeah, me and Maisie are going to be covering that tomorrow at 1 p.m. If you want to join in, Reverend John, I can ask.
I'll
you can
join
if you want to.
because I only support Chadwick.
What's that?
Chadwick. I support Chadwick, so I'll come.
Yeah,
I started to do my research, but I only just support Chadwick. So yeah, I'll
I'm
come.
gonna do my research into this now. So
Please do.
so I think it's just like F2 in it. So it's
F2.
but it only has one race. But yeah, we're gonna see. And luckily, we've got a Brit on pole position for that as well. Powell produced the lap of her life to put herself on pole position. With Chadwick third, the next British driver. Chadwick. Oh, well, it's between Powell or Chadwick, and is it?
Yeah, Team Chadwick.
Yeah, don't tell me. Is she Red Bull linked?
Be
honest now.
No. Good question, right?
Good question. I thought I'd ask. You know what I mean? I'm like, okay, you don't support the one who's first in Red Bull.
Not yet.
Anyway,
not yet. But not yet. But
I
the
don't
thing
mind
is that
as long I'm not really buffered. As long as like a bit wins, I'm fine. But yeah, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe button, share button. We're back at 1 p.m. with that. That's gonna be cool. That is. But yeah, make sure to hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. We're me and Maisie are back with that at 1 p.m. with the preview at 12, and then at 12 p.m. for the F1, and then we've got the sprint race at 4 o'clock, I believe.
Yeah,
4
that's
o'clock.
5. Yeah.
And then we've got, I think, a tournament review of Euro 2020 at 7. Oh, great, brilliant.
That'd be good.
That's going to be fun.
That'll be fun. So make sure you tune in for that. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe button, share button, and we'll speak to you soon. Take care. Bye-bye.
Goodbye.